So One Piece chapter 1138 translations are out, and man, what can I even say about this chapter? Out of the 1137 chapters we had so far, this one covers a massive and crucial part of the story, especially the war during the Void Century and the war that happened in Nika's time. Two incredibly important pages has been revealed, and after seeing them, a lot of people are complaining about how they were presented. But honestly, I love every bit of it. Emu's demon form has been revealed, Shamrock's sword has shown its true form, and what's even crazier is that Shamrock's sword power doesn't come from a devil fruit. I will explain in detail what its power actually is. This chapter has sparked a ton of wild theories, and I'm going to break everything down for you from A to Z. There is a lot to talk about, so this video might get pretty long. But before we start, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to do so. Now the title of this chapter 1138 is Harley, which refers to the religious text of Elbaf. And the reason this chapter is named that is because we are about to learn a whole lot about ancient history. The cover story of this chapter takes back to Wano, where we see who's who at his base camp, celebrating with a party. The timing is insane. Just when we are about to learn the Void Century in Elbaf, who's who appear in cover story. Oda has to be setting something major up with this cover story. Something big is cooking in Wano. Now let's jump into one of the best chapters of all time. The scene shifts straight to the underworld where Loki is still struggling against the God Knights. They are absolutely beating him up, but he refuses to submit to them. Loki is completely out of breath and says, "Tell me, why do you look exactly like Shanks? I can't figure it out. Are you really a red hair or are you someone else entirely?" At first, Shamrock didn't say anything, but then Ganko responds, "Behave yourself, insolent." These guys consider everyone beneath them, so of course they wouldn't bother explaining anything. Now here is the crazy part. Loki's eyes are covered, yet he is still able to tell that Shamrock looks exactly like Shanks. That means he can see, right? Some people have been theorizing that Loki has a future sight, but no. He was able to see Ganko's attack as well, which means he is seeing with his own eyes. So for now, let's put a big cross on future sight theory. It looks like Loki is going to join Luffy for sure. I don't think he will stay permanently with Straw Hats, but in Elbaf, I guess it's about to happen. Loki says, "Alright, I have accepted everything you said, but tell me this. How can a great pirate and a celestial dragon be a part of same lineage?" Here Shamrock himself says, "It's obvious you must be thinking we both look the same, and it must really feel strange to you, but let me make it clear. This pirate is my younger twin brother. He got separated from us long ago. He even came back to Marijoa, but it seemed like he preferred to living in the filthy world. The strangest thing is, what was Shanks doing in Marijoa? And when we saw Shamrock with Gorosei, that was definitely Shamrock. Shanks meeting with the Gorosei is already weird, but Shamrock being there makes sense because he is the part of the world government. And the pirate he was talking about, was it Shanks? No, because Shamrock already knows Shanks is his brother. Then who was he talking about? Now in chapter 1137, when Loki's past was revealed, he didn't have a blindfold over his eyes. This means the blindfold was put on him by the people of Elbaf. So there could have been some concept related to his eyes. Now as soon as Loki hears that Shanks returned to Marijoa, he goes crazy saying, "Both brothers are my enemy and both come from the same lineage." This clearly shows that Loki hates Celestial Dragon intensely. That's an interesting point. Then Loki says, "I will kill both of you. Just unlock my chains once." He adds, "You already know what will happen if you remove my chains. You kill my animal friends, so your fate is sealed. You have to die." Hearing this, Shamrock gets extremely angry and says, "Are you threatening me?" Ganko tells him to calm down, but Shamrock replies, "I won't even have to dirty my sword." But then, as Shamrock draws his sword, a three-headed dog appears from it, known as Cerberus. The craziest part is that, just like awakened zone fruits have a cloud-like aura around them, the same thing is happening with this Cerberus. The three dogs start barking, and at this moment, we are introduced to the Cerberus blade. Saying this, Loki is shocked and says, "What the hell is this? What did you just summon?" Shamrock replies, "This is my sword." So the theory about Blackbeard having the Cerberus devil fruit still makes sense, because when we are introduced to Ganko, it was clearly stated that she had eaten the Arrow Nomi. But when Shamrock's sword was shown, it wasn't explicitly stated that it had eaten any Cerberus fruit. Also, the black clouds forming around it are the same as those around Gorosei. So I can say this might be Emu's power. Meanwhile, Loki is completely clueless about what's happening with this beast. The three-headed dog that emerged from the sword now has swords coming out its mouth too. Loki is completely panicked. At that moment, Ganko tells Shamrock, Boss, hide your presence. This finally answers the question of why Luffy can't sense someone like Shamrock. They can hide their presence. At the same time, Ganko uses her aeronomy power to create a bird because they are about to fly away. But something very interesting happens. Shamrock releases the Cerebus from his sword and then puts his sword back into his sheath. I still don't fully understand Shamrock's power. He just left the bees there and walk away. Loki, who was earlier challenging Shamrock to fight, now hears Shamrock saying, "If you survive against them, then come to find me anytime. When the time comes, I will fight you properly." So are we about to see Loki versus Shamrock? Because Loki is definitely going to be freed. Shamrock and Ganko fly away, leaving Loki behind. Loki is distressed, wondering what kind of celestial dragon is this. Meanwhile, the three-headed dog drives its sword into Loki's body, and the blood splatters everywhere. Loki is in terrible condition now. At this moment, Shamrock reveals his true self, what he really thinks in his mind. He says the giant warrior of Elbaf are tough to bring to our side, so let's capture their children first. Man, he's playing dirty. So his another Holy Knight is coming to Elbaf because Shamrock orders someone to be summoned. Ganko understands and asks, "Who should I call?" This confirms and another Holy Knight is about to arrive. The Holy Knights have made their move and now it's Dragon's turn. If Dragon doesn't appear now, then what is the point being the most wanted man? In the next chapter, Dragon must appear because another Holy Knight is about to arrive. What a absolute chaos is going on. The scene then shifts towards the castle where Luffy is with the same giants who were attacked by Shamrock and Ganko. The giants then says it was Shanks who attacked them. Luffy now furiously yells, "Liars! Do you even know who Shanks is?" The giants insist, saying it's not possible. It was definitely him. Shanks comes and goes from Elbaf quite often. Luffy, still in disbelief, responds, "I agree that Shanks is a super good guy. But what if it was someone who just looked like him?" The giants then admit, "We are extremely scared and couldn't figure out what he came to the castle for." Zoro chimes in, "Wait, you just said the red-haired Shanks frequently visit Elbaf. So isn't it possible that it really was him?" Luffy, trying to rationalize, says, "Even if I believe you guys, how can that person be Shanks? Shanks is such a great guy. There is no way he would do something like this." Nami then questions Luffy's confidence in Shanks, and Luffy replies to Nami, "If someone speaks badly about Melmir, wouldn't you feel bad too?" Nami got off guard and says, "It's Belmir." Meanwhile, the giants continue discussing, wondering if could be Shanks' brother. Luffy then says, "I have never asked Shanks about his family, but as far as I know, he grew up on a pirate ship. His family was Roger and rest of the Roger pirates, except for Buggy." As soon as Luffy mentions Roger's crew, the scene shifts to the mysterious person who was previously seen drinking with Crocus. The same person is now heading towards the castle where Luffy and others are. I am not making any guess about who this mysterious figure is. Whether it's Garban, Shiki or someone else, I don't know. The scene then shifts to Franky, who is with Replay looking at Treasure Tree Adam. Franky is amazed and says, "Damn, what a crazy tree. Just looking at it gave me chills." However, he quickly realized this thing is expensive. Ripley then picks Franky up in her hands and says, "I'm thinking about to selling this tree too." Franky now furiously scolds her, "Don't say such thing, Ripley." Franky explains that Soul had given him a full lecture about the sacred writing on the Adam tree which are related to Elbaf. He wants Ripley not to think about cutting it down, even if she has the ability to see them. Ripley amused and says, "Well, you have made quite an impression on me." Franky then says, "Even if I want to steal some part of this tree, it would cost a fortune because everything would have to be completely removed without the giants noticing. That's not an easy job." While looking around, Franky notices a large painting. Ripley explains, "These scribbles and drawings were made by the children in the ancient time. They worked really hard on them." She further elaborates, "That's why this Adam tree is considered part of our cultural heritage. It's a crucial piece of history drawn by children. What Oda Sensei has created is truly a masterpiece." Ripley reveals that these paintings were made 800 to 900 years ago. Then she adds, "If we take this seriously, it means they dated back to the White Century." Hearing this, Franky is completely shocked. He then says, "We need to show this to Robin. She would understand a lot about this." Franky also notices something odd. He says, "The drawing I'm looking at are inside Elbaf, but I don't see any giants in them. That means the war in Elbaf history involved multiple different races. As far as I know, the giants have never been anyone's allies." She further speculates it's possible that these drawings were just children's dream, but Franky firmly disagrees. "No, this isn't a dream. This is reality." Then the scene shifts towards the school where the children are extremely happy. And then the scene shifts again to Owl Library where Robin, Sol and Chopper are present. Robin says this is the Harley text, to which Sol responds, "Absolutely right." Chopper, looking at the book, is completely amazed, saying, "Whoa, this book is so old and gigantic. It's covered with so much dust." Then Sol explains that Elbaf contains many myths, all of which are recorded in this book. Through this book, Soul tells us that the people of Elbaf believe in different types of sun god. The scene then shifts to Dorian Broggy, where party is going on. Meanwhile, Robin is about to read the book and Saul encourages her saying, "Go ahead, read it. It's really great." The story inside the book is divided into 3 chapters, meaning the third chapter, also known as the Third World, predicts either the present or the future event in One Piece, almost like a prophecy. Regarding Nika, it is said that the whole world knows about him. And one common thing that has been observed about the sun god everywhere is that he is always laughing. This is something that everyone has noticed. So does that mean Loki also keep laughing for the same reason? At this point, Soul starts singing a little, and then Robin says, "I am reading the book." As she reads, she began explaining the first world. However, the scene shifts again, this time to Franky. He is looking at the images drawn on the Adam tree and is completely shocked. And you are also going to be shocked because the real chapters just begin with these 2 pages. Robin then starts revealing the detail about the 3 world or the 3 chapters of the book in the poetry form. So listen carefully because now what I am going to tell you required your contribution too. Based on your knowledge of One Piece, share your thoughts in the comment section on what each thing represents. Of course, I will explain my perspective as well. Now we get an epic double page spread and see the full mural that matches what Robin is translating. We will get to the mural, but first let's focus on the words Robin reads. She reads the first part, which describes the first world. There was fire upon the earth, humanity's come to desire and touch the forbidden sun. The slaves made a wish and the god of sun appeared, but the god of earth became enraged, and alongside the serpent of hell enveloped the world in death and darkness. They could never meet again. Right off the bat, there is a lot of interesting and familiar imagery here. Darkness seems to represent the void century and the truth being hidden. We know that the enslaved pray to the sun god, as we saw from Who's Who. Once again, Oda impressively ties the cover story to the chapter's content in a meaningful way. The deity of earth working with the serpent of hell could represent the celestial dragons, and the world government working alongside Emu's devil-like powers. Now let's move on the second world. There was breath upon the emptiness, the god of forest sent 4 demons, the sun merely spread the embers of war, the people of Half Moon dream, the people of Moon dream, humanity killed the sun and then ascend to divinity, the god of sea became enraged, they could never meet again. Now this could refer to the beginning of the world or the emergence of the ancient kingdom, which thrived in the era before the history was recorded. Now the 4th demon could symbolize devil fruit, which were sent by the forest god. The half moon likely represent Wano's Kozuki family, while the full moon could refer to the Lunarians or the moon people. However, their exact dream remain unknown. During the second world, Joy Boy, who represent the sun, was defeated. In response, he scattered the ancient weapon and poneglyphs across the world to plant the seed of war for the next generation. Here the seed symbolize the ancient weapon and the poneglyphs. Then humans, specifically the 20 kingdoms, killed Joy Boy, the sun, and attained divinity by becoming celestial dragon. The phrase deity of the sea rampaging remind me of why devil fruit users are weakened by the sea and cannot swim. Oda has previously described the sea as rejecting devil fruit users, almost as if it was a living entity. In this context, the sea is personified as deity. The god of sea could refer to the Poseidon. The final line, "they could never meet again," signified the Joy Boy's promise remained unfulfilled. Finally, we get to the third world, which should be most relevant to the events yet to come. There was void upon the chaos, the unbiding shadows remember the day of promise, and they hear the voice of the fragmented moon. The god of the sun dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end. The sun will return and the new pawn will come. They will surely meet again. Remember how the first chapter of the One Piece was titled Romance Down? We see more of that morning imagery here. This suggests, just as we expected, that darkness will be conquered by Luffy, the new sun god who dances and laughs. The current world as we know it will end, making a way for a new, presumably better one. The so-called destruction associated with sun god of the old world isn't followed by complete ruin or a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but by hope and renewal. Now let's analyze the mural itself. At the center stands treasure tree Adam, and the mural is divided into 2 parts. Above the tree, there is a winged demon spitting fire from its mouth. We also see a city being attacked by a massive serpent. On the other side, we see an ark carrying a king, angels and animals, very resemblance of Noah's ark. There is also a depiction of the moon with people making offering that looks like stars, similar to the paintings Enel found on the moon. Additionally, we see a grand battle taking place. A Nika-like figure is fighting against a huge winged demon that holds the sun in its hand. Nika is fighting alongside giants, so expect the giants to play a major role in helping Luffy. One of them even has horns, which could hint at Loki joining the Straw Hats. We also see what appears to be 2 Lunarians, a Minx, a mermaid princess accompanied by sea creatures, an angel, a robot-like entity, and a fleet of ships carrying human-like pirates. One of these ships even seems to be from Alabasta. This gives us a sense of the epic scale of the final war Oda keep talking about. While the mural likely depict an ancient war, it will surely parallel to the one happening now. History doesn't always repeat itself, but it rhymes. A fitting phrase for the rhythmic imagery of the sun god. Well, the video ends here. But what are your opinions on this chapter? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoy the video, do give it a like and also subscribe to the channel. We will meet again in the another video. Until then, goodbye.